Welcome to Workday Benefits, Coverage Targets, and Coverage Types. In this session, we'll discuss coverage targets and coverage types in Workday. Let's begin by discussing coverage targets. Before you can process benefits events in Workday, you need to consider the coverage targets. Every benefit plan must have a coverage target and, within that target, a coverage type. So you'll also need configuration completed for benefit coverage types. Coverage targets control who an employee can enroll in a benefit plan, who the plan covers, or what choices the employee can select from when enrolling. Workday delivers 3 coverage targets, which are healthcare, insurance, and additional benefits. Healthcare plans use healthcare targets to allow enrollees to choose who they want to cover on their healthcare plan. For example, they may select options like employee only, employee and spouse, or employee and family. Insurance plans use insurance coverage targets to indicate who the insurance plan covers. For example, employee for basic group life coverage or spouse for spouse life coverage. Finally, additional benefit plans use additional benefit coverage targets to indicate the selection the enrollees will choose from. For example, a pet insurance benefit may contain coverage targets, such as 1 pet, 2 pets, or 3 or more pets. When setting up additional benefits targets, you're not limited to covering people. Enrollees may also get to select pets, monetary amounts towards travel allowances, and laundry services, for example. It really depends on what your company offers. For each target, Workday provides the option to specify who is the target, what is the relationship to the employee, what is the minimum and maximum number for that target, is enrollment required, and what limits apply for any healthcare savings accounts or HSAs. HSAs are often employee-only and have specific family limits. The configuration of coverage targets includes entering a display order, name, the valid dependent types, and minimum and maximum number. Let's use an example of a healthcare coverage target to put this into perspective. When your enrollee selects employee plus family, what does that actually mean? Are they a family of 3, 4, or more? If you offer a medical plan and allow coverage for the enrollee and their dependents, you can define the minimum and maximum number of dependents. Let's say we have a minimum of 2, which includes the enrollee's spouse and 1 child. And let's say we have a maximum of 7, which includes the enrollee's spouse and their 6 children. Keep in mind that setting targets too low can sometimes be troublesome. For example, since some families are larger, you wouldn't want your maximum number of dependents to be too low. Here's an example of how an employee can enroll the dependents they want to cover on a benefit plan. In this scenario, the employee selects their spouse to enroll as a dependent for medical, dental, and vision coverage. As a result, the coverage column automatically updates based on the number of dependents and the type of plan coverage the enrollee selects to display EE+1 dependent. For healthcare plans only, you can enable derived coverage targets to automatically populate the coverage column as illustrated in the previous example. Selecting the derived coverage targets option simplifies enrollment for the employee. It enables the system to adjust healthcare coverage targets based on the dependent selections the enrollee or the benefits partner makes. In simple terms, a derived coverage target is a piece of business logic that's built into Workday benefits. This logic evaluates the benefit targets with employee coverages, which means Workday only displays targets that apply to each employee's situation. Using derived coverage targets is optional, and you don't have to enable it. Alternatively, you can allow employees to choose the coverage targets on their own. Next, let's talk a bit more about benefit coverage types. This is a large part of the benefits administrator's configuration responsibility. Consider what types of benefits you offer. Do you have medical, dental, or vision? Does your company's insurance offerings include disability or group term life? Benefits administrators will define common details, which include how information displays, if an employee can choose more than one plan of the same coverage type, if election in the plan is a requirement, whether or not to display the employee or employer costs, if your organization applies flex credits, as well as any beneficiary requirements. Now, let's review how a benefits partner can view benefits coverage targets and types in Workday. Meet Maria Cardoza. Maria is a benefits partner. As part of her job, Maria would like to review existing benefits targets and benefits types in Workday. Then, Maria will navigate to a benefit plan to review how coverage targets connect to benefit plans. Signed in as Maria, Kai will demonstrate how to review each of these key components.
First, I'll search for coverage targets in the search bar. Notice that the predictive search results display 3 options: additional benefits, healthcare, and insurance. I'll use healthcare as my example. In this demonstration, this report provides me with all the healthcare coverage targets, minimum and maximum dependent counts, and the valid dependent types. It also informs me if a coverage target requires enrollment in a plan, and if HSA applies, what the coverage target is. Let's review this in more detail. First, I'll review the healthcare coverage target row for EE plus family. EE stands for employee. Keep in mind that this is a naming convention set up by Global Modern Services. Your coverage targets may be different. The valid dependent types for EE plus family target include child and spouse. If an employee elects healthcare coverage for a minimum of 2 dependents and a maximum of 9 dependents, Workday displays the EE plus family coverage target. If an employee elects healthcare coverage for only 1 dependent, either their spouse or their child, then Workday displays the EE plus 1 dependent coverage target instead. A benefits partner can't remove the targets. Workday derives the coverage target based on the employee's elections. Next, I'll navigate to a benefit plan to demonstrate how coverage targets connect to benefit plans. I'll view the report as of today. In the Benefit Plan field, I'll filter on healthcare plans, then choose the Medical Blue Cross of California PPO option. Let's review some of the details on this page. First, this plan is a medical healthcare coverage type. Also, this plan enables derived coverage targets. Using derived coverage targets is optional. For healthcare plans, this option enables coverage targets to automatically populate based on the dependent selections an enrollee or benefits partner make. For this demonstration, I'll scroll down to the Benefit Rates and Eligibility section. The Benefit Rates and Eligibility section allow me to review coverage targets and rates, as well as if any credits or surcharges apply. In the Covers column, I'll review the EE plus 1 dependent option first. I'll select the object's related action, then review the details. If an employee elects coverage for themselves and 1 dependent, then this target applies. In comparison, I'll review the EE plus family option next. I'll select the object's related action, then review the details. If an employee elects coverage for themselves and a minimum of 2, up to a maximum of 9 dependents, then this target applies. The difference between these 2 coverage targets is the number of dependents, the employee and employer costs that apply, and any benefit credits or surcharges that apply, which may vary for your companies.
In this session, we've reviewed benefit coverage targets and coverage types. We also demonstrated how a benefits partner can review coverage targets and coverage types and identify how these elements connect to benefit plans. Thank you for taking the time to learn with Workday.